Deadline day is officially over, however the news will never stop. In today's video, I'll discuss the aftermath of deadline day. I'll talk about the young player that we got signed yesterday. I'll discuss another young player who's signing a contract extension, as well as some interesting Dembele updates. So I hope you guys enjoy. Smash that like button, press the bell notification button, and before we get into anything, I need to get one big plug out of the way first. A special shout out to Profit Accumulator for sponsoring today's video. You guys have to hear their very unique business, which could definitely benefit you guys if you stay to the end. Now, we know in this country, people love a gamble, and we know that the bookies love to make a serious profit off of this. It's why the market is so fierce, and it's why we see so many crazy sign-up offers left, right, and center. What they didn't realize though is the profit-making ability that can be created from this. And this is where Profit Accumulator and their dedicated team find all the bookmaker offers around using their special maths and algorithm techniques to work out how you can make a profit using these sign-up offers against each other. With over 5,000 positive reviews on Trustpilot, with over 150k members signed up as well too. It's proven to be an excellent side hustle for many people. Personally, for everyone interested, I recommend you head straight to the description to try the free 100% trial, which requires no card information at all. So you can try out yourselves, go through the tutorials, get up to speed, and learn exactly why Profit Accumulator is so popular. As I said, you guys will find a link below in the description. Now we start with the first story, and let's discuss these interesting Dembele updates which were broken by Mundo Deportivo. Now, of course, we know Dembele did not move yesterday. However, there is still a ton more stories to come surrounding the future of the player and how things will play out between him and Barcelona. Anyway, in Spain, they report that Barcelona are entertaining the idea and holding discussions over possibly terminating Dembele's existing contract. Of course, if they did so, he would be made available on a free right now. And I guess the reason behind why Barcelona could entertain doing something like this is because they want to save money and not pay him his wages. That makes sense. I guess maybe paying the compensation fee will end up saving them a lot more money compared to just continuing to pay out the rest of his contract before he finally leaves on the free during the summer. You know, yesterday Romario did release a tweet just discussing Dembele and what actually happened yesterday. Now in the tweet, maybe some people may feel like we had literally no intentions of signing Dembele whatsoever. You know, the reality is we have held talks with his reps, and his reps want him to leave in the summer. We prefer to do business in the summer too, because we have to sell players first as well. So it's quite obvious that there's a big possibility here that Dembele could be signing for us on a free during the summer. Spurs, Arsenal, he had no interest in signing for them whatsoever. Paris Saint-Germain, he wasn't interested in going back to PSG, and it was more Barcelona offering the player and hoping to find some business to, you know, salvage a deal with them. And Man United naturally aren't even interested in the player to begin with, after they just recently signed Sancho for ridiculous money too. Things look extremely positive for the summer. Let's see how this deal plays out. And right now we move on to the next story, and right now let's discuss the only piece of business that we got secured on deadline day, and that was signing young 18-year-old striker Mason Burstow from Charlton Athletic. Now, we did sign him for a substantial fee that has not been released at this point in time though. And I guess, looking back at things now, recently we did loan Wonderkid to Chelsea on loan until the end of the season, and I'd imagine that this was a tactical move to allow Chelsea to sell Burstow to us. The good news for them though is that we did sell him for a substantial fee, which of course is going to be relative. Let's not think that we signed him for like 20-30 million. We've signed the player and we've loaned him back to Chelsea until the end of the season. This season he has scored 6 goals and 14 appearances, and since signing from Maidstone in October 2020, the player has made incredible strides. His progression has been ridiculously fast as well too, and as tweeted by Chelsea Youth, he did state that he's had many trials with our academy a couple of times over the years. Although we never signed him, we always kept and remained our interest in the player. At the time when Charlton decided to sign Burstow, he was playing for Maidstone at the time versus Charlton's youth team. During that same game, Chelsea scouts were there in attendance to monitor the player's progression as well too. This forced Charlton to act fast and to sign him up, and since then his progression has accelerated at a mad pace. You know, he's 187 centimeters tall, he's got great pace, he's a player that, if you were to look at him in FM terms, he would be seen as like a complete forward, and he's praised so highly by many coaches at Charlton for his willingness to learn, and he's shown to be a very serious and dedicated pro. He's improved so much in his movements on and off the ball, and he's a forward that can do everything. He can run away from the ball, he can drop deep, link up the play. He is a good aerial support frame as well too, so he sounds like a great talent. He's recently got 3 goals in his past 4 appearances, and many scouts and coaches at Charlton believe that he is another player of extremely high potential, and he will follow in the ranks of other, infamous Charlton youth players such as Joe Gomez, Kounde, and Shelvey as well too. So good luck to him. And right now it's time to discuss the aftermath of deadline day. Now when the window opened up again, I'd imagine that all of us kind of had hopes that we were going to be in the market to sign a replacement for Ben Chilwell, who is going to be out for the season. That was not to be the case. And I guess it's only natural to assume that maybe Thomas Tuchel has been undermined and now his position has been made harder because we did not get a key player to help, compete in the squads. Doesn't seem to be the case though. Tuchel really isn't that type of coach that, is too demanding. He's quite accepting of the environment, hence why he has a great relationship with the board, especially with Marina. They see eye to eye on a lot of things because Tuchel understands what his personal assignment is and what he has to do as a coach. I think that's why we made a move for Emerson solely because number one, Emerson knows the tactics, Tuchel admires him a lot as well too. But I guess this deal was always forever going to be very difficult because when we loaned him out in the summer, the idea was for him to leave on a guaranteed permanent once that season ended. Last season we had 3 left backs on the book. We weren't going to have 3 more for this season. It's natural that one of these guys had to go. Hence why there were no recall clauses in Emerson's deal when he signed for Lyon. So realistically, if we weren't able to persuade Lyon to allow him to come back to us, even if he had to pay, penalty fees to be able to bring him back, then I guess we weren't going to sign anyone. Other options like Dest, he always had ambitions to remain at Barcelona, and we had no interest in signing any players on a permanent during this window because the business side still has to be accounted for. I think as fans, a lot of times, including myself, we all forget that clubs are also a business at the same time. A lot of decisions made, especially in windows, are purely business financial ones, and the fact that we now have Reece James who will be returning back to the squad next week, amazing news. The fact that Kennedy has been recalled back on loan too, we've seen the emergence of Sarr and Hall as well. I do feel like our squad is definitely big enough to cope now with the loss of Ben, and we can't forget that if we had like a fully fit squad, we have a massive squad. That's the reality. I guess signing anyone in this window could have potentially jeopardized the squad harmony. We do know that many attacking players are a bit unhappy and a bit frustrated behind how they've been used. Tuchel really emphasizes on squad harmony. He wants to have a team that's united. We saw that when he first signed for us and united the squads after they were being managed under Frank Lampard. Right now, the emphasis is solely on getting deals completed for the summer. The board, the manager, they're thinking about next season already, which is great news. And the main targets we're looking at, Dembele. I think personally there's an incredibly massive possibility that he will be our player next season. Another player probably guaranteed to sign for us too is Jules Kounde from Sevilla. And we know that we're in the market for either Rice or Tchouaméni, not both because they're both at an absolute premium. We can't afford to sign both unless we plan on making big revamps, not only in attack, but also in midfield as well. So for me, it makes more sense for us to, put all our time into getting the summer deals right because, last summer wasn't personally good enough for me to only sign Lukaku, who was solely funded by that youth exodus. I mean, it's no surprise that we had some issues this season in terms of squad management. What doesn't help us though is that we still have a very, very high wage bill structure, one of the highest in the country. No surprise, we still have players like your Drinkwaters, who's on more than 100,000 a week. Your Ross Barkley's on more than 100,000. Your Bakayoko's on more than 100,000. You can go on. We're still paying the price for ridiculously poor deals. And for some reason, we've really overpaid these guys a substantial amount as well too, which kind of just sums up some of the, poor management that, listen, no board is perfect. They don't get it all right. But I do feel like we do have a history of just, overcommitting to, very risky deals. We have to hope that this summer we can finally move these players on. We struggle to move on Barkley in this window. No one is going to pay him 100,000 a week when he hasn't really been playing that much whatsoever. And that's going to be key in freeing up funds, of course, sign more players in the team. Realistically, when we fund some of these big deals like your Tchouaménis, your Dembeles, your Koundes, etc., we're going to fund them by also selling players that are existing in the squads. It makes me more frustrated by the fact that we short-sightedly sold guys like Livramento and Lamptey for absolute peanuts, especially when we made very half-assed attempts in the end to try to persuade them to stay because obviously we know the talent these guys possess. And you would think that, because we have to be so financially disciplined, that maybe we'd encourage the use of more academy guys to help offset expenses. That's my personal opinion. Regardless though, Tuchel is not upset by how this window played out. We still have a strong squad. Players are returning back to the team as well too. I think we can definitely cope. And for me, it's more exciting that, emphasis is being put on this summer, because out of all the summers, this has to be the one we get everything right by signing the right key players, because when we have that perfect squad, you guys, we're going to go all the way. Now we end things with the final story, and Harvey Vale is holding contract extension talks with the club. No surprise, I can tell you guys this is what I was hearing. The reason why he was denied a loan move to Huddersfield Town was because he only has 18 months left on his existing deal. Imagine the fact that if he was to sign for Huddersfield until the season ends, once that deal is over, he will have 12 months left on his contract. And you'd imagine that if he performed well for Huddersfield Town, there would be a host of clubs strongly monitoring and looking at him with hopes of signing him, and they'll be even more encouraged to sign him knowing that he only has 12 months left on his existing deal. This is what I was saying earlier in my previous news point. We have to remember that the club are also a business. Now, it's not always right. For me personally, I'd like to think that Vale could have got exposure to first team football right now instead of having to remain at the club. It gives more further context behind Tuchel looking to introduce him a bit more and give him more minutes, because if you want him to sign an extension, you also have to commit to him and prove to him that there is an opportunity here to get minutes and get game time. So this is an example of where Tuchel, he knows what his assignment is, he knows what he has to do, he knows how to play by the rules. And I guess we can't be in another situation where we're allowing some of our most talented guys to be leaving for peanuts. That can't be happening anymore. Cynically though, I can't imagine that he'll get too many minutes. I'd imagine that maybe with our upcoming FA Cup game against Plymouth, that he will probably play, hopefully start in that game. Regardless, he will need a loan move, and let's hope that once this deal is sorted out, next summer he gets a very, very good one. So you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm the EFC, this is Blue Line CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.